Isaiah Romero, and this is my final recording for CS 2060, so I'm just going to get right into it. First, I'm going to talk about pointers and linked lists. Pointers are essentially variables that hold a memory address within them, and so they're very useful for, you can send pointers to functions, and that allows you to change a variable from outside of the scope that it was defined in, so that's very useful for like changing variables that were defined in main from outside of main, and they're also very useful with strings. Pointers are very useful because you can essentially define pointers or strings as pointers. But pointers are especially useful for self-referential structs and linked lists. So a structure or a struct is basically just a user-defined data type that has a variety of members within it that can each be accessed and changed with the dot notation. But besides that, a self-referential structure, it also has this member known as the next pointer, which basically points to the next structure within a linked list. And a linked list is a lot like an array, but instead of having to know exactly how much memory to allocate upon creating that array or upon creating that list, instead, it's a dynamic structure, which means that it can be changed during runtime, and you don't have to know exactly how much memory to allocate for the structure. And so instead of having to allocate that specific chunk of memory, you can just dynamically add more things to the list by just changing the next pointer in the last item in the list. Sweet. So now I'm going to get into quality code and quality programming practices that I implemented within my iteration. First, I'm going to talk about least privilege principles. Least privilege principle is essentially saying whenever we pass things by reference to a function, we want to make sure that if we didn't want that to be changed, that we put the constant qualifier on it. So like right here, I had a prompt string that I didn't want to be changed from within the function, so I essentially put the constant qualifier on it. And so I made sure to do that with all of my prompt strings or anything that I didn't want to be changed from within a function that I was passing by value. Perfect. So then next, I also, another security thing that I implemented was I made sure that all of my memory that I allocated, that I freed when I was done with it. So when I deleted when I deleted an organization, I freed it, and also at the end of my program, I made sure to free the entire list so I didn't have any memory leaks. Next, I made my code very easily modifiable by having constants throughout. As you can see at the top, I have all these constants here, and so then if I wanted to change the min, the max, the pin, or the attempt number, or if I wanted to add a color or a size or anything like that, I could easily just change it in one spot rather than having to change it 40 times throughout the code. Finally, as you can see, I have several functions, and I modularized the heck out of my iteration. As you can see, I have like over 20 functions, and I wanted to make sure that each function basically had just one specific task so that it didn't get too complicated. And finally, I just made sure to comment throughout my code so that it was easy to understand for both myself and for anybody looking at my code who may have not been as familiar with my code as I was. Perfect. So next I'm going to look at the iteration itself and what we added in this iteration. This iteration focused on the organization struct and creating a linked list of organizations and essentially implementing that into the program, allowing the user to choose which organization from the list they wanted to purchase from, things like that. And so that was pretty simple. And then my own personal feature, which I was pretty proud of actually being able to implement, was I added a menu that allowed the user to either add an organization to the list, edit an organization from the list, or delete an organization from the list. And I also saved the linked list to a file after completing the program, and then I was able to create the linked list by reading from that file upon booting up the program. Perfect. So now we're going to actually start the test script. We're going to boot up the program, and we're going to look at the test script that Professor Harding provided us. Sweet. So enter the pin 81405. Perfect. So there are no totals, nothing's there. So we're going to create new organizations that we're going to add to the linked list. So that's yes, 20, yes, 10, yes. Now we're going to yes. Now we're going to add another one. So we're going to do cancer, yes, 40, yes, 5, yes, yes. Add homeless, no, we want it capitalized. Yes, 30, yes, 20, yes, yes. And as you can see, it's adding each organization alphabetically. Perfect. So now we're going to quit, and we're going to go into the purchase mode. We're going to purchase from vets first. We're going to purchase SK, yes, and now we're going to test my credit card function to make sure that I had the valid, or that I validated the card, so that the user couldn't just enter random crap. So see, that didn't work, so then 1, 2, 3, 4, now we're going to try ABCD to see if that works. 1, 2, 3, 4, ABCD, 1, 2, 3, 4, ABCD, that didn't work. We're going to try 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, that didn't work. So then if we actually enter something that would be valid, shoot, dash 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, perfect, it works, and then we print the receipt. Awesome. So we're going to go get one from Cancer, SK, yes, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, perfect, it works, yes, and then we're going to purchase one from Homeless. That's a funny name for an organization. Small shirt, we're going to get a black shirt. Is this alright? Yes, and then we're going to enter a valid card this time. I am confused. 1, 2, oh, it's because I accidentally pressed number lock. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, valid, yes, and then perfect. Now we're going to quit. So I said enter stop to quit. 81405, perfect, we quit, prints all the totals, great. So I'm going to show that that actually printed to the t-shirt fund. As you can see, there are all the receipts for each organization. And if you look, there are 3 t-shirts sold. Total sales is 90 and total raised for charity is 10, which is all the correct numbers. And now if we boot up the program again, 81405, as you can see, it actually generated that linked list even after closing the program out, which is awesome. Sweet. So then, just a quick reflection, I'm really proud of the fact that I was able to implement functions from the C standard library and grab those and use it within my program. Things like stir token or stir to double, things like that. And I'm really proud of my ability to break my tasks into functions and really modularize my code. As far as, I was also really proud of being able to create functions that were reusable, such as getValidInt or getValidChar or string, and my return organization function, which I also used in my delete organization function. And for an iteration 4, if I were to do an iteration 4, I would just probably add more opportunities to save the linked list, that if a user were to quit halfway through the program, the linked list wouldn't be lost. Finally, I'm really proud of the fact that I was able to actually save that linked list and recreate it after the program was finished. And so I'm really proud of this iteration, and I'm just really proud of everything that I learned and did this semester. Awesome, thanks.